Hello, everyone. This is Miko Santos from the Newswire of redwires.au. On today's episode, we're talking about what is the golden rules on spending wisely in time of in recession. What are the tips to overcome this obstacle? On today's episode, we're talking to Dr. Angel Zhong. She is the Associate Professor of Finance School of Economics, Finance and Marketing at RMIT University. Dr. Angel, how are you today?
Thanks so much for
Welcome to the
having me.
show.
I'm good. Yes, really excited to talk about the golden rules of spending wisely, especially we are facing a very likely global recession.
My first question to you. Recently, there's a recent study between 2021 to 2022 financial year. There's a data from Reserve Bank of Australia that 90% of young people had financial troubles in 2022 and 27% use buy now pay later service. Why?
Yes, that's a really good question. Then that is exactly what my research is looking at. I guess it has something to do with recently the global economy has entered into a very slow down phase, and also interest rate is rising. When interest rate rises, that means it actually spreads over to everything, including food prices, rental, grocery. That is why young people they just start out in their career. They are in financial trouble, and then a lot of them actually they couldn't because they just start out in their career. Maybe they don't have a very comprehensive credit history. They can't obtain credit cards, so that's why they resort to buy now pay later products, which have I think looser credit checks.
So why do you think that financial trouble is widespread and they just picking easy like a pay lending money or buy now pay later? Why this why Australian look into this type of
Yeah. A really
option?
good question. So first, why is financial trouble so widespread? I think it has something. Well, it is due to the current state of the economy. It is not just in Australia. I think it is around the world that a lot of people are in financial trouble. But why do young people resort to payday lending or buy now pay later product? First, as I discussed, many of them can't get a credit card because they don't yet have a comprehensive credit history at the early stage of their career, or they just come out of study. And second, all these new platforms, buy now pay later, short-term lending, they have good function, good features like they are like phone apps, which are really popular among young consumers because young consumers they really love tech. And these are fintech companies that are heavy on the user experience on phone apps. So they're really user friendly, which is why the other reason that they can attract young consumers.
Okay, thank you for that. So, today's 2023, the given start of a new financial year. What is your tips to our listener and our audience right now to what is what is the
Yeah.
golden rule on spending wisely?
To spend wisely, I think first and foremost, the most important rule is that you need to make a budget. So by making a budget, that means first you need to assess your financial situation in a holistic manner. That is, you need to check your spending, you check your income, you check your investment, and then you make a budget. And when you make a budget, I guess a very good way is to have a long-term perspective and make some rules about, for example, I will allocate a certain percentage of my money into day-to-day spending. I will allocate a certain percentage of money into recreational purposes, and then I leave another, for example, 10% as emergency funding for the rainy days, for example, for another global financial crisis. And once you have this long-term rule, you also need to stick with it. So in that way, I think you can easily navigate any uncertainty, no matter it is a recession or another global financial crisis.
Why do you think, Dr. Zhong, is that why some Australian they don't do much think of for the future? Like you said, some of them doesn't know you should have like emergency funds just in case something happen. Is there a way? Do you think that they're gonna must change their attitude on financial decision or budgeting?
The root of this problem is the is the knowledge of financial literacy, which is why I always encourage that we include financial literacy in our school curriculum. It also has something to do with the culture. So I think, according to research on culture, we're living in a country. So a lot of countries, such as Australia and the United States, we have something called the individualism index. So we're living in a country where this individualism index is slightly higher than the rest of the world. So which is why a lot of people focus on their own perspective, and to have fun for now instead of focusing on what's happening in the future. So it has something to do with the culture, the national culture, and also the financial literacy level of Australians.
I know you know. Let's talk about stocks. I know it's one of your research
Yeah.
about stock trading. What is the recent trend in the stock
Mm.
market you observe, and how young people or young Australian who are interested on some
Yeah,
investment in
so
stock?
I say that since COVID, my research reveals that COVID has also actually give rise to what we call the corona generation of the stock market. So, for example, especially during the peak of COVID in Australia, the trading volume has increased by more than 50%. And this trend is actually widespread around the world. At that time, I think we were all stuck at home, so we had so much time, but not much to do. So and gambling was not available. So actually, the stock market is also a substitute for gambling. That's why it has attracted a lot of new investors into the market. So that is the recent trend in stock market investing, and we also have a lot of again smartphone applications for you to trade easily, which is why, because of the accessibility, so young people actually started to invest very heavily in the stock market.
So you're saying, Dr. Andrews, that because of the new platform on mobile platform, it's easy to invest now before than previous
Yeah,
generation?
that's right. It just and they're not just it's not just because they're available on phone apps, but these trading platforms they are also low cost trading platforms compared to the traditional ones. Some of them only charge like $3 or $5 per transaction, as compared to the traditional ones that charge you $20. So it actually lower the barriers of investing, make it more accessible for everyone to join the share market.
So do you think there is a role of social media on investing and also on financial
Yeah, yeah,
literacy
that
to
yeah.
make people
So
educate?
I think you are talking about a phenomenon which we call finfluencers. So these are the influencers giving financial tips on social media platforms. And again, we're talking about why young people are so they're enjoying investing. The other reason that attract them to invest is because of the availability of influencers on social media platforms. You know that young investors they are very active on social media platforms. So I know that many of them actually learn financial knowledge via social media platforms from the influencers.
Do you think this also other side like danger in on social media by using that, like because because it's social some of the social media, some people who is doing some tutorial or guidance, some of them are not actually
Mm.
qualified Is there a
Yes,
danger in
the
that?
yes, that's a really good point there. So because you don't really know the background of the influencer that you're watching, so there is a danger, as you said. Some of them they don't even know finance, but they're just giving you a lot of tips. And in Australia, it's actually illegal to give financial advice if you don't have a license. In addition, because you don't really know the person who is talking on a social media platform, so maybe that person is paid to recommend a financial product without disclosing it, then they will have then that person will have the vested interest to promote a product to convince you to invest. So that's why you really need to be wary of the tips given by influencers. Always conduct some check their background, check their digital footprint, and always keep in mind that there's never free lunch.
Thank you for that. How about the marketing traps? There's a lot of marketing traps to entice people to join, earn more money, and more invest more, and some of them are resulting of scam and fraud. How do we
Yeah,
say see the
definitely.
red flag on
So, for
this?
example, I know all these large scale sales events, such as Click Frenzy, Black Friday, they're all carefully designed by consumer research experts that understand consumer psychology. So, for example, they would advertise this sales event as a limited time event. Then that would induce you to think that, well, if I don't buy, I will miss out. Or they advertise. So just make sure that you always plan ahead. That's why it's important to have a budget. If you have a budget, you know what you really need instead of buying things that you don't need because it's a sales event. And also pay attention to sales events such as buy three and get one free, because a lot of consumers are actually attracted to the word free, without actually realizing that the discount is actually not that juicy. Yeah. So these are some common marketing traps.
Thank you so much. So, any parting word, Dr. Angel Long, on our listener and audience to what is the right way to spend wisely and to overcome this a lot of because there's a lot of interest rate coming in as well, homeowners having issue on paying their mortgage, renters have a rental crisis as well. What is your
Yeah. So
tips to them?
for everyone, the golden rule is always have a long term perspective, make a budget, understand what you need, how much you can afford. That's really important. And second, if you are an investor, always diversify. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket. For homeowners, if you really believe that interest rate will increase, you can either think about fixing your interest rate before it rise again, or you can also refinance your loan, because nowadays loyalty doesn't earn you much. If you switch to a new bank, usually there are some good deals there. For people who are renting, I would say, because you may likely face an increase in rent. That is why you need to really check your spending, know what you are investing in, and have a long-term budget. So these are my tips for everyone in this new year.
Thank you so much, Dr. Angel Zhong, Associate Professor of Finance, School of Economics, Finance and Marketing at RMT
Thank you.
University. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is another episode from the Newswire from redwires.au, and this is Miko Santos. Thank you.